I had a lot of health issues, especially digestive issues, dehydration issues, back pain issues, and tried so many streams of conventional treatments. And invariably, the problems used to strike back with vengeance. But when I tried Kangen Water for approximately 3 months at a stretch, and now for more than 4 years, I could not figure out how it worked. Not only worked, but worked so well in such a short span of time. This made me to look for the answers, and having done extensive online studies collecting testimonies of people who have been extensively benefited, the following is a synopsis or a summary of my learning about Kangen water. Every cell in the human body consists of what we call aquaporins, which are membrane water channels that play critical roles in controlling the water contents of cells. These channels are widely distributed in all kingdoms of life, including bacteria, plants, and mammals. More than 10 different aquaporins have been found in human body, and several diseases are connected to the impaired function of these channels. They form tetramers in the cell membrane and facilitate the transport of water and, in some cases, other small solutes across the membrane. The aquaporins are six-sided figure which we call the aquaporin helix. It has pores having funnel which can selectively accommodate maximum of 6 microclustered molecules at a time. These taper down inside the cell, facilitating rapid hydration, which helps to expel the accumulated toxins and carbon dioxide from the cells. However, our current water supplies, that is tap water, boring water, oceanic water, and others, are all clustered in a large group of molecules that are theoretically bonded with 16 to 25 molecules each. So, they do not necessarily pass through these aquaporins. Further, inside the cells normally has a positive charge, and outside of the cell membrane has a negative charge. This outside charge is maintained at around minus 120 millivolts in a healthy human being. But as we age, this drops down to minus 100 millivolts to minus 80 millivolts until ultimately it fits in the minus 60 millivolts range. At this stage, people usually have some kind of health conditions like fibromyalgia, cancer, diabetes, and many other degenerative diseases. The reason that water is such an important nutrient because it works in conjunction with our heartbeat. When our heart beats, it causes our cells to contract. When it compresses down, that is when it helps excrete carbon dioxide and toxins. And our heart beats again, which pops up the cell to open up, and these draws in oxygen and the nutrition. This cycle of contraction and expansion continues, and this is done via hemoglobin, which is bioavailable iron. Water in the microclustered form are naturally available in nature, in lakes that have been struck by lightning, icebergs that have been melting in the last few feet of oceanic waters, and some Himalayan streams. It is also available in quite a few locations worldwide and is popularly known as healing waters or the holy waters. But these types of water supplies are very limited in our planet. What makes the Enagic water machines so special is the way that it reprocesses and restructures water to a high antioxidant solution. To do this, Enagic has first added a filter to clean the water, and then they have captured that lightning strike by running the water through 7 highly electrically charged plates inside their model, the SD501. This process splits the water molecules to smaller clusters by restructuring into fewer molecules that are now acceptable to the Aquaporins. This water is much more bioavailable for hydrating, and it carries a negative charge. At the 8.5 pH setting of Enagic ionizers, water forms clusters of 4 to 6 molecules, and at higher settings of 9.0 pH and then to 9.5 pH, it breaks down further, even smaller for better transportation. All these are done through the process of electrolysis. This process of electrolysis is done by the amount of wattage in the machine, the amperage, and the amount of surface area on which the water comes in contact with the plates. So, if electrolysis is a combination of watts multiplied by amperage multiplied by surface area, that is going to be a key factor in choosing the machine. Therefore, you must know the type of power supply mode to the ionizers. Enagic uses transformers versus many of the competitors who use the switch mode power supply, the SMPS, mode, and hype it as an energy saving device. In the SMPS, the power ramps up and drops down, ramps up, drops down, ramps up and drops down. These are promoted as energy efficient machines, as these are running at the peak voltage part of the time. Well, if they run the power at full voltage all the time, it would melt the inferior mesh plates. On the other hand, Enagic uses transformers, which gives a very elevated steady rate of power, and this is a part of the reason that it is listed as a medical device. Let me explain. If you were to take a 40 watt light bulb, it will have a thin filament, then a 100 watt light bulb which has a thicker filament. Now if you put the 40 watt bulb in the 100 watt socket, it is going to pop. The filament will burn out. This is because too much voltage going through a filament which cannot withstand it. It works the same way with ionizer machines. You have to have a higher grade filament, which is solid platinum coated titanium plates, in order to maintain higher voltage to dissociate water. So you can literally throw away all those machines using the SMPS mode for electrolysis. We are literally taking the water molecule and splitting into hydroxyl ions and the hydrogen ions. The hydrogen ions are unstable, and so they bond immediately with another hydrogen ion to form the molecular hydrogen. These are attracted to the negative electrode, the cathode, along with the hydroxyl ions. These two contribute to the super antioxidant property of the ionized water. When we drink this water, the electrically charged hydroxyl ions, which have become microclustered, that is 4 to 6 molecules, gets attracted by the positive charge inside of our cells. They now easily pass through the aquaporins, leaving behind the negative charge hanging on the outside of the cell membrane. This process literally recharges the diseased human body, where the cellular charge might have dropped to minus 60 millivolts to the optimal minus 120 millivolts. This helps cells to work in conjunction with our heartbeats, as discussed earlier. In the human body, oxidation basically is corrosion or rust, and this will have drastic effect especially on our hemoglobin. As stated earlier, the cycle of contraction and expansion of our heart is done via hemoglobin, which is the bioavailable iron. The number one oxidative disease we have right now is cancer. The number one acidic disease we have is hyperketoacidosis, also commonly known as diabetes. Secondarily, the acidic diseases are really associated with inflammatory responses, and these are arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, and things like that. All of those are immune and inflammatory, highly aggressive diseases that are based on the acidic response, because it is a rapid oxidative process that is creating stress. Green tea is one of the more powerful antioxidant, having ORP of minus 100 millivolts. This most of us drink at the most 1 cup a day. On the other hand, an individual on average generally consume 2 liters drinking water. The 9.5 pH Kangen water straight from the machine measures ORP of minus 400 millivolts. For those people with special disease processes, there is the 11.5 pH strong alkalized water, which gives ORP of minus 800 millivolts, and that is really important when people are really sick. Drinking the 9.5 pH Kangen water helps rapid absorption, and it carries the nutrition deep into the cell, helps repair the cell, and continuously flush the toxins out at a really outrageous rate. Clinically speaking, you can flush toxins out of the cells in weeks to a month. That does not mean you completely detoxify all the accumulated toxins, but it means you have got a huge jump start in the process. So, if someone weighs 80 kg and we know that human body is 72% water, that means they are 57.6 kilograms water. Think 1 kg is equal to 1 liter. And if that person drinks 3 liters per day, it is going to take about 20 days to rehydrate. If you drink 2 liters a day, it is going to take a month. Therefore, Kangen water has the ability to flush the toxins out of the cells, rehydrate 72% of the entire organism with high energy water, and getting the bioavailable antioxidants directly into the cells. This is simply the fastest means to get a person to the onward path of wellness. Is this the only thing necessary? Of course not. But it is a huge part, meaning taking care of the 72% of the body mass. The magic in this machine is the molecular hydrogen, ORP, and the microclustering, in the way it restructures water for human availability. On a cellular level, it gets water into the body faster than anything else. Since our body is composed of roughly 70 trillion cells, which normally range up to 98% water, just by drinking the right water is one of the keys to achieve optimal health. We as a nation are underfed and undernourished. The adult population, and even more concerning to me, the children, are facing a record amount of obesity, diabetes, and related problems. So, what is different in Japan? Well, many experts think that diet and water play an important role. We all know that if you put high octane fuel in race cars, it runs better and the engine lasts longer. Similarly, if you take junk food, you are ultimately going to feel it. So it makes sense that there could be different qualities of water. All waters are definitely not equal. This water system is being used throughout Japan in hospitals, restaurants, and homes. This machine is classified as a medical device in Japan and is manufactured in a certified factory. I have always been impressed with their culture, ingenuity, and health. As per United Nations, Japan ranks up as one of the healthiest populations in the world, and as a country, they have the longest life expectancy. It is one thing to hear about and read about Kangen water, but it is entirely something else to actually see the live demonstration. There will be a paradigm shift in your way of thinking about water and hydration. Contact me at any of the available channels given in the description box for a live demonstration and let a new journey begin. Stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected. Be happy, be healthy, and be alkaline.